So officially speaking, we are in autumn. So what does that mean? Grab the colours. The colours are slowly changing. Well, to be honest, they've been changing since mid-August, especially around here, due to the long, dry summer. So naturally, as photographers, we home in towards those colours. Usually in the past, when it comes to autumn, I naturally home in towards the woodland, as I'm sure a lot of landscape photographers do as well. And why not? Because that's where the interest lies. So the colours are, the changing of the leaves, etc., etc. However, do not underestimate the fact that black and white photography is appealing and works all year round. What am I trying to say? Well, why am I shooting black and white photography in a season where the main source of interest is woodland, trees changing colours? Because it can often act as a distraction in autumn. As I said, naturally I'd head towards the woods, and black and white photography would never even enter into my mind. But as I say, it's all round interest. There's still good black and white images to be taken. However, black and white photography doesn't always work, especially how I choose to shoot it. And that's where the camera is metered for the highlights and set to high contrast, especially in a place like this. I'm in my local cemetery, part of my local walk. For some reason I like coming to cemeteries, gives me that sense of peacefulness, ambience. The issue here is there's no real contrast. It's now Sunday afternoon. I should have got out in the morning because the sun was out, and from the sun it obviously gives me shadows. That's all gone now. So it's almost one big blanket. Actually it's not. It's broken up as a clouds as we speak, but the sun is not out. What I'm trying to say is there's no great contrast in what I'm shooting. What I want to do, what I want to find is some sort of reflections where the light's bouncing off. I'm still in search, but the message here is you've got to look. You've got to look. It doesn't come to you. Having said that about looking, there's usually something not too great a distance. Found these beech trees, I believe, and they're already turning a autumnal orange. So lifting the camera, give you a sense of what I do. If I just move it to a darkened background, that works. See, those yellows turn into a nice light whiteness against the dark shadow of the greens. There you go. So, the message here is autumn can work in black and white. Just gotta look. But that applies to all landscape photography, doesn't it? If you, like me, like to go on adventures where they are let's say, hotspots. I can't see the point of going to a hotspot where everyone else is taking that same image. Where is the joy in that? Go out there and find your own compositions. See, that is great contrast. Amber, light browns, orange of the leaves against a dark concrete path. Got a bit of rain this morning. That's what I mean. Look at this. You can shoot a bit of macro using the macro facility. Sun's just come out. See that headstone there? The light is bouncing off it. Now, you've still got to work for your composition. Of course you will. what I'm saying is, and the sun is lighting up the old chapel. Seen better days. Some detailed shot there. See, this is what I like. Shadows. Shadows on the brickwork, on the leaves. Getting close. It's great. Sunshine is out. Nature rewards you every now and then. You just got to speak highly of it. Right, I'm going to head out of the cemetery, continue with the walk. I want to show you things that don't work. And half of that is when you get your composition wrong. And getting the right balance when it comes to black and white photography of the proportion of whites and dark shadows is key. And what I mean by that, your camera composition. I'll try it for an example. If I point the camera over there, it doesn't really work, but all you've got is speckles of whiteness. So the light areas have no real impact. So it's all about finding that proportion, the right balance between your dark shadows and your highlights. You don't want an image where it's just speckles of lightness or too dark. I got a few comments in my last video where it said the images didn't always work or not to their taste, which is great. I like to invoke a bit of conversation, and of course it is subjective. What I must say is that I don't always share my best images in my videos, because how often do you actually go out on a shoot and come away with a host of images which you actually think, yeah, really like them, portfolio standard, as they put it. Doesn't always work that way. That is normality, and hopefully by sharing those images you can decide yourself what works and what doesn't. Just looking around, lovely building. Another thing as well to bear in mind is, because the camera is metered on highlights, if I start to include a bit of sky, then it just brings the exposure right down. So I've just altered my settings. I don't know what I'm doing. Come back to you in a minute. Yeah, so quick swivel the camera. If I include the sky on the left hand side, it just brings the composition right down. Box shift to the right, omit the sky, and there you go. It's got the framework. As an example, again, not a great image, but as an example. So that's an example of an image which doesn't work, because it blends in. There needs to be a good proportion of blacks, as I said before. Lovely tree, still birch in its bark, but it just blends in too much. Right, yeah, so I'm out again with the Ricoh GR3. Again, I've been out with a big camera in quite a while, to be honest. Simple reason is, well, I've been busy at home decorating. I only really use the Canon R6 when I go to the Lake District or my long hikes. Plus I'm hooked. Now, another question I get quite regularly is, how do I edit my black and white images? And that's simple. When it comes to the Ricoh GR3, the only editing I do is a slight crop, okay, straight from camera. And the reason being because it produces excellent results. So why would I want to load them into my photo editing software and play around? So yeah, slight crops. That's it. Shooting JPEGs straight out of camera. Plus, I'm just a bit lazy. I've never been never really been fond of editing my images. The fun for me is, as I said before, going out and finding the composition, finding what works, what doesn't, how the light forms, and different patterns in nature you can find. So I'm in the open, or more in the open, and this is where you can see the vastness of the sky. God, some brooding clouds, look at that. Even raising, oh, look at that. See how the camera's metered, the highlights? It's just rendering that cloud nearly black. See, that's not bad. Got the top of the tree there. It's not a great shot, is it? But there you go. And as I said before, we don't always, well, we don't see with black and white. We don't see with black and white, do we? We see things in colour. That's where the beauty of digital photography comes in, and the LCD. That's brooding now. Brooding. So I'm loving the shapes, the curve, quite hard edge. There's leaves curled up at the moment. However, if I shoot that way, it's too messy. However, again, if I veer off to the right hand side, the background becomes dark. And there you go, something like that. You know what I mean? Get focus, that'll help. Yeah, that works better. Yeah, so it's throwing the background into darkness, creating that contrast with the light that's on the sleeves. So, main subject of this walk so far is very much foliage orientated. Photographs to be had everywhere. I could have stayed in, watched a bit of football on Sunday afternoon, but no, let's get out. Get out with my camera, there's no reason why you shouldn't do as well. So the sun's gone behind the clouds again. Well, it would do. We're in England. It happens quite a lot. In fact, I'm a bit of a silhouette, aren't I? I am here. I'll just pick you up. So what do? I'll go on and on about capturing different patterns in what are the shadows create, but of course you need sunshine. So what do? Well, you look for natural contrast. There's contrast everywhere, whether it be textures or silhouettes against a lighter background. This is a good example. I'm in a field. I'm in a field full of cows who are quite inquisitive. If I lift the camera not too far, if I lift it too far, remember it's metering on the highlights. So look at that. Just brings the image right down, doesn't it? In fact, that's compensation, needs to bring that. But if I bring that below the skyline, it's got some contrast between the greens of the grass and the cows in itself. I need to get up a higher level, to be honest, so I'm looking down. What's that sort of thing? Yeah. That doesn't work because a big proportion of the image in the foreground is the grassland, and that's not doing anything, is it? Well, yeah. So yeah, let's look at some more examples of contrast when the sun is not out, in the natural textures, or man-made textures rather as well. Actually, probably a higher percentage you're going to find in man-made. textures. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. Sometimes, a lot of times. White lines on roads, good contrast. But I've taken them far too many times. But they are great, especially when there's a bend comes into play. Yeah, something like that. Tyre, the trees. I just think that's such an interesting shot. But the thing is with black and white, the rope, for one, is lost against the light colour of the brickwork. Also, the bark of the tree is also lost between the background of the lightish gravel concrete. So that will work better in colour. You know what I mean? It has a bit of a story. Does that work? You see, the light bouncing off your coat works. Interesting. Does the eye work? Get up closer. Yeah. Nice. Oh, that's it. That's it. Hello. Yeah. Alright. Show me your bottom instead. Typical. Got some nice shades going on there. That works. I think it works. Better angle. The horses are diagonal maybe. Oh, actually it does. See, I quite like that. Got quite a nice proportion of lightness. Yeah. Even this. Yeah. Patterns in the wood. The truth is, it's hard to decide or know what works and what doesn't, especially if you're lacking a bit of experience in photography. I've been doing this a fair few years now and I get a good understanding of what works and what doesn't, but you've got your LCD screen and the metering system on the camera is a wonderful thing. With black and white it can really show things which you will just pass by, so highly recommended using the monochrome profile on your camera. So what I'm trying to say is, even if you go around just looking at things and it's not working, there's nothing standing out, this doesn't work. The simple action of lifting the camera in front of you, it will reveal things which your eye doesn't see. Obviously things like that, you know, there's going to be contrast. This is interesting as well, patterns there. Just frame it. So yeah. Do that. You might look like a wally, but hey ho! It's not about other people's thoughts, it's about your photography. Just enjoy yourself. There you go. This bench, that heart, and you've got that lovely texture of the phormium. God, phormiums are excellent. Twisting, weaving, beautiful contrast, dark background. Oh, I could be here for a long time with this, but I'm just going through some images which I've shot today. Formium could work, good plant, good contrast, good shapes. Yeah, I'll crop them in a little bit. A few road, white lines, road patterns. There's a few work. There's a fair few which don't as well. But hey ho, this is the part of the journey about landscape photographers. If you come away with 1%, that's pretty good. I do like that horse image. That does work. I do like that one. But yeah, it's part of it, isn't it? You know, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, decent looking images. Goal done. I will add my favourites to my website if I get any favourites. So out of all my black and white collections, I'll add it to the website, the black and white gallery. James R. Burns photo. So yeah, going to the end of the walk. Nothing special about the location. It's just everyday local walk. I just want to keep it real. I don't want to go to some exotic location, some hot spots, as I said. Just go out and find your own way. Enjoy your own journey. Explore. Learn what works, what doesn't work. But, and I will say this, I'll say this again, set your camera to a monochrome profile. If you then choose to choose a high contrast processing technique in RAW, whatever. It really does bring a different aspect to your photography. I'm just looking at some patterns in the concrete. Don't work. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Keeping it real, everyday stuff. Sunday afternoon. Gonna go home now. Probably enjoy some coffee and last bit of the football, as it were. Until next time. Bye bye for now.